This is a part 2 of Vanipedia and Your Success, Vani Talk. One thing I don't want to have when I die, to feel guilty because of neglecting the person who is saving me or trying to save me. Who knows how many lifetimes already, who brought me to a point where I am, that I want to continue chanting, honor Prasadam, and read and preach Krishna consciousness. And what does it mean to neglect Srila Prabhupada? To neglect Srila Prabhupada means to neglect his Vani. And we probably do it every day. We don't read, we don't think about him, we don't hear him. And we find some psychologist or some other author and we say, wow, he or she is super. He blew my mind completely. I couldn't stop reading whole night. And how do we read Srila Prabhupada's books? After a few pages we fall asleep. For chanting, someone else will point out to us how we should chant and why we should chant and how much we should chant. But why we do not have a taste for reading? For chanting, we were taught on all the kirtan retreats and japa retreats, and we don't have a taste for reading Srila Prabhupada's books and for hearing his lectures. What attracted me the most in the early days were transcripts of Srila Prabhupada's lectures in the Back to Godhead magazine. His lectures are even more simple than his books. It is wonderful. Srila Prabhupada's lectures are such a nectar. They are so simple. And you can learn how to speak about Krishna to people in a way they can accept. Srila Prabhupada is also very humorous. He sometimes speaks very seriously and devotees are laughing because he said something very funny. Srila Prabhupada's voice is beautiful. Once I was serving Sachinandan Swami at the Zagreb temple, and he said, when I was passing in front of his door, Akrura, come in to my room. I said, Maharaj, what happened? I thought maybe radiator is leaking or there is some other problem in the room. And he said, listen to Prabhupada's voice, ocean of protection. It was so beautiful to hear. Often when I hear Srila Prabhupada's voice, I remember what Sachinandan Maharaj told me. Just the tone of his voice is protection, and what to speak of hearing the content. It is so much mercy. Krishna sent his pure devotee to us. Srila Prabhupada's books are pure nectar. If were not for Srila Prabhupada, there would be no us, dasas and dasis, and initiations and taking sannyas, etc. There would be none of all these things. Therefore, we are most grateful to him. We have Guru Puja and his Murti to worship, but we forget him because we are not conscious of his Vani. We don't read, we don't follow, we don't inspire people. What is actually spiritual coaching? To me, spiritual coaching means to bring people to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. Let me show you what is spiritual coaching. When you come in front of his murti and bow down and offer full dandavats, and then recite his pranam mantra. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Everyone should remember this mantra and offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada every day, and if possible in full dandavat. This is where our Vani coaching starts. This is where our spiritual advancement starts. When we fall and throw ourselves in the lotus feet of a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. We also forget to offer obeisances. If we leave outside, then we think, I offer obeisances only in the temple. How can I bow down my head? I have a big belly. I can't do it. Even Boy George knows the trick. He says, bow down, Mr. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Bow down, Mr. We say Radha Shyam. So this offering of obeisances is the beginning of success. To fall into the dust of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. Okay, we can fall down physically with our body and make a big show of humility. We can walk around with folded hands. Prabhu this, Prabhu that. But what is real humility? Real humility is to know Vani and to follow Vani. We cannot know Vani and follow Vani if we don't read them every day. If you read Vani one day, the next day we forget. What do we need to do then? Read again and again, because we forget what we have read. So the next day we remind ourselves by reading again. Nowadays we have Gita-based, Veda-based, Vanipedia, printed books, so many sources of instruction. We have everything. And what do? We read the newspapers or watch far-out video where someone is doing some kind of a jugglery, or there is a dog barking in an unusual fashion. Devotees are fascinated with various things. But Vani is available everywhere, and we find something else to amuse ourselves. Sometimes it may be boring for people to read Srila Prabhupada's books because there is no taste. Or maybe some devotee writes a book that is materially a little more interesting and we try to read it, and then this also becomes boring. And then finally we find some psychologist or a coach or a success teacher and we say, this is pure nectar. The so-called nectar from a psychologist may be some kind of goodness, but it is mixed with passion and ignorance. And we neglect the words and instructions of a pure devotee. We neglect the Vani. And therefore Vanipedia is a wonderful project. Everyone can find himself or herself in Vanipedia. Look at the 6 highway robbers, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Matsarya, Mada, and Moha. There is a category for each one of them. Category in Vanipedia, and category has subcategories. And that means there are hundreds of quotes. And one should read and study and find ourselves and get these unwanted things out of our system. Learn from Srila Prabhupada how to get free from anarthas, how to get purified, and take advantage of this mercy he has given in the form of his words. He dictated and translated at night for us. He gave us so many lectures. They are all recorded and transcribed. There are several volumes of transcripts of Prabhupada's lectures, and we should translate them all to all languages. I should get into it too. Translate all the lectures to all the languages of the world so people can also read his lectures and simultaneously hear his voice. To listen to the original and read the translation in their own language. In this way, they can learn and follow. Some devotees made simultaneous translations or back and forth translations of Srila Prabhupada's lectures. Like in one ear you can hear Srila Prabhupada, let's say in stereo, and in another ear you can hear the translation. And then, do you know how many letters are there? How many Srila Prabhupada's letters? When you read his letters, you can see how personal he was, how much caring he was, how he wrote to each and every devotee very carefully, how he gave wonderful instructions, how he encouraged them and supported them. Thus we can learn how to write emails and letters to people, how to write an encouraging message to people. So much we can learn from him. Then his conversations. He speaks with the Buddhist, with the Christian, with this one and that one, with the professor, and with each of them he speaks very intelligently, very attentively, very kindly, sometimes humoristic. So to read and hear all his conversations we can do. Imagine that we leave our body and we haven't read all his conversations, heard all his lectures, read all his books and all letters. That would be a catastrophe. At least this is how I feel for myself. I don't know how long I will live, but it is my desire to manage to do that until the end of my life. And if I manage to translate his lectures to my language, so much better. The words of a pure devotee are most important. Why they are important? He uttered them because they are important. And we have a tendency to neglect them every day. We read something else, some foolish news, which have nothing to do with eternity, which have nothing to do with bhakti, just something to agitate the mind. Devotees are trying many ways to give the holy name to people. Similarly, Vanipedia video clips are so merciful because people cannot hear the whole lecture but a short excerpt with the translation in their own language. This they can do. Maybe the whole lecture is too long for them. Because today's people's span of attention is less and less because they are bewildered with 1,000 things. distracted. So they can hear a few minutes of Srila Prabhupada speaking and see his photo or a video, and they make spiritual advancement in those few minutes. So Vanipedia multilingual project is so merciful. Therefore, if you like, please contact me and I will connect you with Vishnumurti Prabhu. He is a very nice devotee and very kind. He will introduce you to Vani Seva, if you like. I would like to induce you and encourage you to become a part of our global team. Even if you do something for Vanipedia only once a month or once a week, we will be very, very grateful to you. It is a wonderful service. But if you develop a greater taste, you may do it more often, as much as you like. In this way, people will get association of Srila Prabhupada via internet and beyond, and they can hear parts of his classes along with reading his books. You do it yourself and encourage others to explore Srila Prabhupada's teachings. That surfing is the best surfing. Sometimes we surf and search on Google for this or that, but when you surf Srila Prabhupada's teachings in Vanipedia, you can get incredible insights. Srila Prabhupada said amazing things. We just need to find them. Now you may say, how will I do this? It will be a great tapasya, austerity. How can you read Shastra and be inspired? How to study and explore Vanipedia? Find a theme that you are very much interested in. For example, if you see my database, you can see my searches, my keywords. One is Rolling Stones, one is football. These are things I was interested in before. And amazingly, Srila Prabhupada spoke about the Rolling Stones. He instructed devotees to preach to famous celebrities and musicians. Srila Prabhupada also said that in the spiritual world they play football with the bile fruit. We can see that everything is in Prabhupada's books. So, for example, you can find whatever material things you are interested in and make a search. Because you already may have a spontaneous attraction for that. Whatever you are interested in, start searching that in Srila Prabhupada's teachings by using Vanipedia. Then those sections of his books that are very dear to you, that touched your heart, learn them by heart and preach them. For example, I love the book Light of the Bhagavat. I haven't done a seminar yet, but Hanumat Preshak Swami did. It is an amazing book. Srila Prabhupada wrote it specifically for the Symposium for the Cultivation of Human Spirit in Japan. He never went there, but devotees published the book with illustrations by the famous Chinese artist. Wonderful book for preaching and for leadership. Whatever book is your favorite, study it more, use it more for yourself or others. Absorb more of that which you already are attracted spontaneously. And gradually your interest will expand to other parts of the Shastra and even other that you cannot even read. Other parts that you cannot even read. Someone asked me the other day whether I kill mosquitoes. I said no. And they said they are aggressors. Most devotees will tell you that mosquitoes are aggressors and that it's okay to kill them. My question is, if you were a mosquito, would you like to be killed? How many of you would like to be killed if you were a mosquito? Maybe if a devotee would be the one who kills you, you would say yes. Well, if you read a very unpopular 26th chapter of the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes 26 various hells, you will find a verse which says that insects who bite us are not aware they hurt us, they are just looking for food. This verse says that we must not kill the insects, because if we kill them, we will go to one of the 26 hells which is described in the 5th canto. So, whether to kill mosquito or no? Srimad Bhagavatam Uvacha. Srimad Bhagavatam says, look up what the Bhagavatam says, and then decide whether you want to kill them or not. So we don't know the laws of nature, especially those that describe actions and reactions. Manu Samhita, better don't open it. How many of you were brave enough to take a peek into Brahma Samhita? It describes actions and reactions of activities quite a lot. And here and there you may find them in the Bhagavatam. So we are not informed enough what is right and what is wrong. However, we can find a great inspiration in Srila Prabhupada's teachings, in Srila Prabhupada's words. Vishnumurti Prabhu speaks about how Prabhupada uses the language. In Vanipedia they made categories of Srila Prabhupada's phrases too, not only from certain words. So thank you very much for listening. I hope that you got at least some inspiration to study Srila Prabhupada's Vani at vanipedia.org. You can use other resources also if you like. There is, for example, a manual called Studying Srimad Bhagavatam from the Vaishnava Institute for Higher Education in Vrindavan. They made manuals to study various cantos of the Bhagavatam, and it helps you to do it in a more structured way. There are some questions inside, like what is the main point in this verse and purport? What is important for me? What is important for preaching? What is important for the Vedic culture? So this can help your deeper study of Shastra. What we were doing in Gita coaching is to find practical tools in the Shastra. For example, one practical tool is the verse Bhagavad Gita 17:15. It speaks about the austerity of speech, how to speak, how to communicate. It says, speaking words that are truthful, beneficial, pleasing, and not agitating to others, and always reciting the Vedic literature. This is the austerity of speech. This is practically a communication skills mini course, all in one verse. How to communicate. However, the communication described in this verse is not only for communicating with others. You can also use it to communicate with yourself and to develop your positive inner dialogue, or very spiritual inner dialogue. When you read Shastra regularly or hear from devotees, and especially from Srila Prabhupada, your thoughts become permeated with Srila Prabhupada's words, and you start to think like him. Imagine if you could think like a pure devotee, wouldn't that be nice? If you see a tree, you see a soul and a super soul. We can learn a lot from a tree. Srimad Bhagavatam says that the tree is one of the gurus in nature. When you see a tree, you don't think, nice shade, let me sleep under the tree. You see a tree as a guru. Or if someone disturbs you and you say, thank you Krishna, what can I learn from this? Let me first knock him out and then I will learn. He is an instrument in the hands of my karma. It is said, don't criticize a person who is an instrument of your karma. Therefore, by the words of a pure devotee, we will develop a spiritual vision. We will see how everything is meant for Krishna's service. So, thank you very much for listening. And I would like to finish here by inviting you once again to contact me or Vishnumurti Prabhu. Again, my Facebook is Vaniseva, 2 words. You can easily find it. And we can discuss what you are reading, what are your realizations, what are your insights. We can discuss how you can read in a way that will support your success in Krishna consciousness and have better learning so that you can also present the philosophy of Krishna consciousness much better, that you can preach and teach and train and coach. And if you would like to engage in Vaniseva, there is a wonderful opportunity. Even if you do 1 hour per week, it will be 52 hours per year, and you will have a great benefit from it. We see that many devotees who are engaged in Vaniseva report that it is transforming their lives, it is improving their lives, and they're getting a great benefit from it. So I wish you all the best. Thank you and Hare Krishna.